In the grand tapestry of biblical literature, the book of Deuteronomy holds a unique place. This fifth book of the Torah, or Pentateuch, is a retelling, a second law giving, if you will. It's the final words of Moses to the Israelites before they enter the Promised Land, a summarization and reinforcement of the laws and lessons learned during their 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. Today we'll dive into the third chapter of Deuteronomy, a chapter rich in history, conflict, and divine intervention. The opening verse of Deuteronomy 3 recounts the Israelites' encounter with Og, the king of Bashan, and his forces. Moses, under God's command, leads the Israelites into battle. The scripture emphasizes that not a single town was too strong for them, showcasing the divine power on their side. The second verse tells us of God's reassurance to Moses. He encourages Moses, saying he should not fear Og, for God has delivered him and his people into the hands of the Israelites. This verse underscores the theme of divine support and intervention recurrent in the book of Deuteronomy. In the third and fourth verses, we see the outcome of the battle. The Israelites defeat Og and his forces, taking over 60 fortified cities. The description of these cities with their high walls, gates, and bars accentuates the might of the Israelites' victory, again attributed to divine intervention. Verses 5 through 7 detail the complete destruction of the enemy's cities. Nothing that breathed remained, and the spoils of the cities were taken as bounty. This was a common practice in ancient warfare, and it also fulfilled God's command to completely destroy the inhabitants of the land. From verse 8 to 11, we get a glimpse into the distribution of the conquered land. The land east of Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon, is divided among the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Here, we also hear of King Og's iron bed, an artifact symbolizing his might and stature. Verses 12 through 17 continue with the distribution of the land, detailing the specific regions allocated to each tribe. The emphasis here is on the fulfillment of God's promise to give the Israelites a land of their own. Finally, in the closing verses, from 18 to 29, Moses recounts his plea to God to allow him to cross the Jordan and see the good land beyond it. God, however, denies this request, instructing Moses to ascend a peak where he can see the land he will never enter, and to commission Joshua as his successor. Deuteronomy 3 is a testament to the power of faith and the fulfillment of divine promises. It presents a narrative of victory attributed not to military prowess, but to divine intervention and faith in God's promises. The chapter also underscores the importance of obedience to God's commands, as seen in the total destruction of the enemy cities and the distribution of the land among the tribes. Lastly, it introduces the theme of leadership transition, with Moses passing the baton to Joshua. This chapter, like the book of Deuteronomy itself, serves as a reminder of the covenant between God and the Israelites, a covenant of faith, obedience, and divine guidance. It's a narrative that continues to resonate, offering lessons of faith, courage, and obedience to divine will.